Why work with mission, vision, values, strategies, and goals? Ask yourself the question, if you don't know where you're going, why are you going at all? If you can't answer the question about where you're going, then your employees most probably can't either. This means that they will do what they believe is the best for the company, and most probably it will not be the same focus for all. The most profitable way to go is where the customers are willing to pay and come back and buy more in the future. Find out who your customers are, what they want and how they want it. Make sure that you know what they want right now and in the future. No matter on which level you are as a manager and leader, you have to work with these high-level issues. If you are the CEO of the company, you have to set the overall direction. Whether you write the mission, vision, values, strategies, and goals yourself, you involve people, or you get external help, it is still your job to be the first one to commit and the first one to tell the story. The job of a middle manager is to translate the story to the next level so that the next level can understand and get an opportunity to commit to the story and work accordingly. Many leaders and managers believe that an email with written directions should be enough to get people going. This is far from enough. People want to know if what they do matters and how. What is the compelling story that I am a part of? What are people saying about where I work? What are they supposed to say? And what can I do to help them say that? When managers involve their direct reports, they massage the overall direction to fit the job that people have to do. The massaging includes changing behavior, habits and ways of working to support the company's overall direction. A mission, a vision, and supporting values can help people get emotionally engaged. Strategies and goals can help people move in the right direction. Picture a soccer game where nobody knows why they're there, what is the most important to do, and what not to do. What can the spectators expect the players to do? Have fun, play with a ball for each team, fight with fists, or what? What are the spectators willing to pay for? Every business is made to make money by fulfilling customers' dreams or solve customers' problems, and only the customers know what they're willing to pay for. What is a great customer experience in your company? Why do people pay to watch a game of soccer, golf, or tennis? Why do people want to pay for what your company can offer? How can they come to want to pay even more? Back to our soccer team. If the players do not know that to be successful, the number of goals scored from their team has to be higher than the number of goals scored from the other team, where is their focus then? People need a punchline that says everything about how to create great customer experiences, like scoring more goals. That punchline is the mission. What is your company's mission? What if they do not know that a newly started local team are not expected to win Champions League within the first year? What will they then be proud of when they are not even qualifying for Champions League? They need something achievable to relate to instead. And what is that? People need a statement that describes a future situation, something they will be proud of achieving together as a company. Statements like number one in sales, world-class service, or the best products can be great statements if they are made more concrete. All three statements triggers the question, compared to what? For the local soccer club, a vision statement can be to be a strong regional team, appreciated for its creative players, delivering outstanding seaworthy games. This statement says something about where the club wants to go. However, it does not say anything about how to get there. What is your company's vision? Imagine now that each of the soccer players reads the vision statement and elaborates on it, each in their own way. Some of the different perceptions of the vision statement can be: I know now that I have to physically injure as many of the other players as I can manage in each game. This means that we are going to be team players helping each other to score. The best players should at all times receive the ball and move forward. We have to take the time to show all our tricks when dribbling slowly towards the goal. People need simple values to guide them achieving the vision in the right way. Values for the soccer club can be memorable experiences. We understand what the supporters and visitors want. We are present whenever we meet a customer or a potential sponsor. We act as professionals inside and outside the stadium. We want long-lasting relationships with our stakeholders. We know that everything we do leaves a footprint. All for one and one for all. We support each other to be unique. We feel responsible for each other's improvements. We learn from and teach one another. We embrace each other's differences and try to adjust as much as possible. We accept that changes in the team setting is a natural part of our development. Adjust expenses. We acknowledge the value of being financially independent. We know when to spend and when to save. We focus our expenses according to our strategy. We continuously ask ourselves why and how this expense is important to reach our mission, vision, and strategy. What are your company's values? Mission, vision, and values give some overall guidelines for where a company is heading and what kind of difference they want to make in the society. If there is a good match between people and company, people are hopefully emotionally engaged in the company. However, the employees don't necessarily know what this concretely means and what they should do. Next step is a clear strategy and goals to work according to, and here's one of the manager's pitfalls. The further away the people who make the strategies are from fully understanding and committing to the mission, vision, and values, the more risk there is that a connection is not there. Imagine that the soccer club's owner writes the mission, vision, and values, sends them out to the manager on an email, and asks him or her to take charge in writing and implementing a strategy. The manager forwards the email and adds a few directions to the head coach and asks him or her to write a strategy and to implement it in the different soccer teams. The risk is very high that the manager has not fully understood the mission, vision, and values, and therefore adds activities that are not directly linked to what the club is all about. The same goes for the next touch point between manager and head coach. Words are just words, and we need to work with the words to fully understand them. The more touch points a company has, the more communication is needed to ensure that the goals linked to each individual will eventually sum up to fulfill the company's mission. A strategy is often with more in-depth information about what the expectations are. The first strategy is at company level, and if the company consists of different divisions working with the different things in the value chain, it may be a good idea to make a strategy at division level too. A strategy tells people something about where the division or the company wants to be at a certain time, why this is important and what the benefits are, what kind of high-level achievements are expected to be delivered, who is responsible for what, and who is expected to deliver what. A strategy document informing about the strategy is mostly a Word document and can consist of these headlines. Purpose of the document. Write the answers to these questions. Why is this document written? What are the headlines in this document, and for whom is this document written? Executive summary. State the main messages of the document as bullets. This is a way to highlight what you at least want people to understand. Some people don't read more than this. Background. Explain why this strategy and change is important. For instance, new market conditions, demands from customers or stakeholders, or new demands for cost efficiency. Business objectives. Explain what the to-be situation will be. How will the organization look like? What new will happen to the company's value chains? What remains of processes, products, and people? What new learning is needed? How will the company's infrastructure look like in the future? How does new and old fit together? What do the company and people have to invest in this strategic change? Benefits. Explain what the benefits are for the company. It could be more profit, lower cost, happier and healthier people, faster deliveries to the customer, more innovation together with the customers, and more. Strategy chart. Show the overall expectations and how they relate to the vision. A chart can be most helpful for everyone to discover which part of the strategy they can add value to. Here's an example from the football club. Involve people to co-create their new working life. Once the strategy is clear, with clear overall goals, people are ready to be involved in creating their new working life. This also means being involved in setting SMART goals for what they in particular have to do to fulfill the part of the strategy that they can influence. A strategy covers many teams and not everyone is involved in everything. Goals. State the concrete goals that has to be achieved and when. The goals has to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. For instance, rules and regulations for how to control costs are to be written in Q1. Activities. State what activities will be started to fulfill the strategy. What needs to happen to reach the goals. Make a chart to visualize when what is going to happen, when it starts, and when it is supposed to end. Be concrete so people know exactly what is going to happen. Responsibilities. State who is responsible for what and how they have committed themselves. For instance, the board is responsible for writing rules and regulations for how to control costs. The commitment could, for instance, be that they have cleared their calendar for a week to plan how to involve people in designing activities and what they will present at the end of that week. It could also be how these activities are reflected in their balanced scorecard and KPIs. Additional tools. There are a few more things that can be very beneficial to have in place to help the strategy come to reality. Storytelling, facilitation, goal documentation like balanced scorecard and key performance indicators, human resource activities like job descriptions, annual personal review, employee satisfaction index, personal development dialogue, combining storytelling and learning. Yearly wheel to lead and manage strategies. As you can see, strategy and people are closely interlinked in this wheel, and each of the bullets are activities to be done at least once a year. It can be very beneficial to spread the activities out so they are not to be done at the same time. Some of the activities are yearly events and some can be repeated during the year. A good suggestion is to call upper right corner for Q1, lower right corner for Q2, lower left corner Q3, and upper left corner Q4. But it all depends on what is most suitable for the company to do. It is of importance, though, that the whole company does it in the same way. This is to make it easier to plan and to prevent people from getting confused if they move from one unit to the other within the company. If the starting point is the customers, which would be the most obvious thing, then you start in lower left corner and the game plan can look like this. Customer Satisfaction Index Measurement. Start by understanding what the customers are willing to pay for. Ask them either in a structured way, as a CSI is, or call some of your customers to help you to be innovative. Let the customers be the most important source for developing the company's strategy. Strategy, plan changes. Write a strategy based on the inspiration from the customer's input, other external stakeholders' input, internal analysis of IT, locations and other equipment, and the knowledge about people and competences. Plan the necessary changes for the future for how to increase profit, how to invest, and how to reduce costs. Adjust job descriptions. A new strategy most often brings changes, and sometimes it affects people's job descriptions too. It could be parts of the text that has to be changed, or all of it if the job no longer exists and there is a need for people to do something completely different. A strategy should last for a few years and with smaller adjustments every year. The same goes for job descriptions. They should not change often either. Job descriptions are most often a Word document describing what can be expected of a person in a particular job. Headlines can be salary level, accountabilities, success criteria, competences, educational qualifications. Employee Satisfaction Index Measurement. Strategies affects people. The way managers lead and manage strategies affects people too. If people are not satisfied with what they do, they are likely to be less productive. That is why it is very important to find out how satisfied people are and then do what is necessary to keep the satisfaction at a high level. ESIs can be more or less sophisticated. The important thing with an ESI is that everyone is asked, both employees and middle managers, that the answers are anonymous and the output a welcome source of inspiration for the manager to how things can be even better. The questions asked in the ESI can be about people's trust in the company, the top management's performance, the working environment, and the immediate manager's performance. There are many companies that can help form the questions and run the survey. If the company wants to do it themselves, then make sure to keep the anonymity. Every manager should have a survey on their own, where direct reports have answered how satisfied they are with the manager's competences and behavior. If the team is less than 5, you can't count on the anonymity anymore. If you do not have access to an ESI in your company, you can instead ask your employees questions directly to get to know what you can do even better. It will no longer be anonymous, so you need to be sure to create trust ahead. Ask questions like, what can I do to be an even better manager for you? If I should be even more competent as a manager, what should I then focus on? What is in your mind the most important for me to do? If you were me, how would you do that? What do you believe it would benefit the team and me? Besides what I can do as a manager, what other improvements would you like to see that can help you to do your job right? What more would improve your job satisfaction? What would improve your loyalty to the company? Strategy storytelling. Storytelling is very important no matter if the strategy brings changes or not. The story has to be clear, easy to understand, and appealing to all. Besides that, the story has to be told in an engaging way so that people understand why the strategy is important, what the changes are, how it will affect each individual, and how the behavior at work are supposed to be. Storytelling is a task that has to be done from one manager to the other, cascading the engaging story from top management and all the way to the employees. The story has to be consistent all the way, and if one manager does not see why, what, and how clearly, that manager has to return to his or her own manager to get help to engage in the story. If a manager is not mentally engaged in the story, there is not much chance that his or her direct reports will. Imagine if that happened high up in the hierarchy and everyone below that level would focus elsewhere than on the strategy. Balanced scorecard. A balanced scorecard can help people engage and focus on the right activities that will lead to fulfillment of the company's strategy. It is a contract, often a one-page Word document between manager and employee for what has to be delivered during a year. The goals in the document are often called key performance indicators. The manager can follow up during the year, for instance in monthly meetings, to help the employee to stay focused, celebrate successes, and deal with challenges. The balanced scorecard is often connected to a variable salary part, which is paid by the company once a year. The amount of money paid is agreed upon from the beginning of the year, and sometimes with a maximum that is equal to reaching 100% of all goals in the balanced scorecard. Strategy, involving people and setting personal goals. With your own balanced scorecard in hand, you can start involving people in co-creating their workplace. Your balanced scorecard is equal to what the team has to deliver, and that is your starting point for facilitating the team's involvement. If it makes sense to you and the team, you can make a balanced scorecard for each of the employees too, which you can follow up on during the year. Make sure that you facilitate the team's strategy work in a creative way to enable the team to think out of the box and come up with new, brilliant ideas for how to work smarter in the future. The outcome of this work should be concrete working methods, team goals, and personal goals for each of the individuals, which you as a manager can follow up on through regular meetings with your employees. Be inspired on how to do that by entering the leadership path, Lead and Manage Performance. Variable salary part. Every team member should be very well aware of how much they will get paid if you have set clear and specific goals for each team member. You tend to create frustration and thus decrease productivity for a while if the goals have not been specific and clear, and if the team members are unsure how much they are going to get paid. Annual personal review. To ensure that the company's strategy will be reached and that you can lead the team to successfully do their part, you need to review the resources in the team. If the strategy means changes to people's expected behavior and competences, you need to assess the team. Who are able to embrace the changes right away, who need to raise their competences or focus on their behavior, and who are perceived to be constantly unhappy with the changes and need to face the fact that they will most probably be happier in another job. Changes to a company strategy do not mean that a particular employee is less worthy. It just means that the present job and the personal preferences and competences are no longer a good match. Actions are necessary from this point to set the right team. Combine strategy and learning. You know now what is expected of the team, and each individual has their own personal goals and team goals to relate to. At the same time, the team knows which working methods to maintain and which to renew. Now it is time to find out which skill sets are needed in the team and what each individual needs to learn to be able to perform. ESI dialogue, and ESI action plan. Once the employee satisfaction index is out, you have inspiration enough to find out what you can personally do to support the team to be successful. You will know where your strengths are and what you need to improve. Take a dialogue with your team and let the strategy guide you to focus on the most important for the strategy to happen. Embrace any feedback you get as guidance for you to learn more about how to keep the energy and the productivity level high in the team. Make an action plan that you commit yourself to and where the team is willing to support you to become even better. Follow up on that action plan together with your team, for instance, every quarter. This way your team can help you assess your own improvements in your personal behavior. Personal development dialogue, including salary discussion. The fulfillment of the company's strategy is dependent on the performance of the employees. Performance is a mixture of many things. For instance, feeling and being competent, having easy access to development, liking what you do, liking the workplace, the workload, and the relationships in it, level of ambitions, and how easy it is to handle challenges. At least once a year, you must dedicate time to fully understand the employee's individual drivers, where they see their future, and to assess the employee looking back at a longer period of time. If you meet the employees in monthly follow-up meetings, you seldom deepen the understanding as much as you can when dedicating 2 to 3 hours with the employee. The performance development dialogue can consist of these areas. Most important subjects for the dialogue: physical and mental working environment, relationship between employee, team, and manager, assessment of the previous year compared to the success criteria in the job description, focus areas for the past and coming year, level of ambitions for the future. If you use a template, you can get the employee to plan ahead, and you can do the same. Start the conversation by asking the employee what is most important to focus on in today's conversation. This way you are sure that the time is spent on the most important for the employee. This conversation is the employee's conversation most of all. You can benefit from including a salary dialogue in the performance development dialogue. This way you can let the employee know what it takes to raise the salary level if the employee wishes to know about that. How does the employee need to change behavior, and/or what new competences or responsibilities does the employee have to focus on to get a higher salary? The more concrete you are in what the person has to do, the more focused the employee can be. You can at the same time communicate what the salary level will be for the coming year. Be inspired by what drives people by entering the leadership path, lead and manage people, and be inspired on what a person can develop by entering lead and manage development, competence assessment, and training plan. With the work you have done up until now, you can assess the whole team's competence level and make a training plan. Make a chart that you discuss with your team. This chart links the corporate statement to what people need to learn. It can look like this. When you work with this chart as a process, you start from right to left to step by step create an understanding of how things are linked together. When you have created that understanding and people have found their learning goals and objectives, you can read the chart from left to right. An employee should read the chart as follows. When I manage to learn what I have promised myself, then I will increase my skills to be able to work in the right way. When I work in the right way, I have a good chance to reach my personal goals and thereby contribute to reaching the team's goals. When we do that, we contribute in the way we are supposed to the company's overall strategy and goals. If we continue that journey and at the same time comply to the company's values, it will bring the company closer to reaching the vision and mission. Find out if more team members have to learn the same and if other people in the company need the same training. The more you can train the team on the job, the more effective and cheaper it is. Find resources within the team or the company before you send people to external courses. Take responsibility yourself to train people with what you know and let people train each other. Your job is to ensure that people are competent enough to do their job as they're supposed to. This means training both skills and behavior. Be inspired on how to work with personal learning by entering the leadership path, lead and manage development. And be inspired on how to facilitate training by entering the leadership path, lead and manage teams. Midterm strategy follow-up. Take a few rounds during the year to see if you are on track. You have a balanced scorecard, an ESI action plan, and a training plan to follow up on. If things are not progressing as you expect them to, Find out if you can handle it on your own, in the team, or if you need support from your immediate manager. In addition to the yearly wheel, the manager should meet the employees on a regular basis in contract meetings, monthly meetings, co-hosted meetings, when sharing successes and getting new ideas, and in performance management meetings. Learn more about these meetings and how to structure your daily operations by entering the leadership path, Lead and Manage Performance. Balanced Scorecard. A balanced scorecard is a tool to help people stay focused on what is most important to do to meet the goals and objectives in the strategy. What you measure is more likely to get done than what you do not measure. Card means a paper where certain important measurements are written. Score means that the holder of the card is scored on how well the person has performed. Balanced means that the performance is measured on 4 dimensions: financials, customers, internal activities, and learning. To make any sense, the balanced scorecard is linked to the company's mission, vision, values, and strategy, including overall goals for the company. We have now moved from company level to personal level. People who are holders of a balanced scorecard are usually managers on a high level, who are directly responsible for certain goals and objectives to happen. Most often the card is linked to a variable salary part, meaning that if they achieve the goals and objectives in the balanced scorecard, they are rewarded with a bonus according to how well they have performed. All rules for how and how much a bonus will be paid should be clear in the balanced scorecard. That is why the goals and objectives in the card must be SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. The 4 dimensions in the balanced scorecard are financials, customers, internal business processes, learning, and growth. Make sure that what you measure on is something that the employee can influence directly. Being an employee or a middle manager in a service department and being measured on the total sales figures makes no sense. A service department often has the opportunity to sell more, so let them be measured on that and not total sales. People tend to lose their energy if they are measured on something they cannot influence directly. Make fewer goals to help people stay focused. 1 to 3 goals in each of the 4 dimensions are more than enough. These goals can be transferred to performance management meetings, which you can learn more about by entering the leadership path, Lead and Manage Performance. Key performance indicators are there to ensure SMART goals and objectives. You can also call it goal or an objective. For each of the 4 dimensions in the balanced scorecard, there are specific key performance indicators. An example of a KPI can be total cost savings this year to be 5% compared to last year. Total increase of profit per customer this year to be 8% compared to last year. Total number of customer meetings per week to be 310. 4 yearly innovative interactions with customer groups to improve products. Implement new IT change to the CRM system to handle lead lists. Implement lean changes to save 10% time in daily operations. Level of ESI on immediate manager's performance to be 81%. Number of job-specific training activities for the team to be 2 per month, except for July, and number of follow-up meetings with employees to be 1 per month per employee.